This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
So the complaint today is that they have no control on the thermostat, and we actually just had one fail recently and I changed this one. But anyways, no control, no adjustment, it's not locked out, nothing you could do, it doesn't do anything. So pull that off, there's no batteries in the back. We're going to test between R and C. 27 volts, so we got a bad thermostat. So we're going to change out the thermostat, then we'll check out the rest of the unit. Thermostat is installed, just got to go through the installer setup. The biggest thing is the number of periods. I already changed it to 2, but I got to change the zone sensor. Make sure it's reading the right temperatures. I don't really mess with any of this stuff. 2 periods per day. And there's 3 questions you have to answer for the zone sensor. And I've already answered some of them. Is there a wired sensor? Yes. Is there a wired indoor remote? Yes. Indoor sensor name. Indoor sensor T-stat terminal 1. What type of sensor? We need to set it to a 10K. Use T-stat sensor for temp control? No. Use indoor sensor? Yes. And that's it. Done. Yes. Yes. And let's see if we're reading the right temperature now. Boom, 75 degrees, and set the time and the date. The AC I'm working on is that one right there, and I'm waiting for the thermostat to finish its delay. So, not that it really makes a difference that it's Memorial Day weekend, but it is Friday before Memorial Day, May 28th, and I noticed that this rack is kind of dirty. There's that silly disconnect switch too. This rack is kind of dirty. So I'm going to rinse it off so we eliminate the service call potential for a dirty rack, you know what I'm saying, for this weekend. So it's not going to take cleaner, just going to be a quick little rinse, get all that stuff off real quick to try to eliminate a service call. All right, this one has the first version Prodigy, so you're not going to be able to read it, but it says cooling right now. It just turned into cooling. Yeah, we've got a full call for cooling, all is well. We're going to check for a temperature split across this guy. If I don't see the need, I'm not going to put service gauges on it, because if it's working fine, the coils look clean, filters are new, belts look clean or good. We just serviced this unit not too long ago, so I'm just going to double check all the temperatures. I love these Linux units. So we've got outside air temperature of 92, return air temperature of 75, discharge air temperature of 78. I love these units until the discharge air temperature fails. Because it's not 78 degree discharge air temp. So I'm going to verify with my thermometer, and then we might have to order a new discharge air temp if that's the case. Well, this unit just shut off. I don't know why it says fan only, but we still have a call Y1, Y2. And open this guy up. Oh, it's not going to show it now, but the expansion valve was all frosted up like it wasn't feeding refrigerant through it. Yeah, something's funky there. That wasn't right. Ooh, it almost feels like a plugged up liquid line filter dryer, because it's cold on the bottom of the dryer, warm on the top. We'll see. I'm gonna go get some gauges and stuff, and we'll probe up on this guy. All right, this is a 410A system. We've clearly got low suction. So if we go to our toolbox, look at our liquid line temp. On one side of the dryer is 88, and on the other side of the dryer is 38 degrees. So, and it's frosting up, it's cold right here. This dryer's plugged up. Now my fear is why, because we've changed that dryer in that TXV about a year ago. Let me go ahead and exit test mode. Okay, so we've got a plugged up dryer again. Don't think there's anything wrong with the TXV, but don't know. But something that does concern me is that refrigerant smells like crap. It doesn't smell burnt, but it doesn't smell normal. Something's going on there. So we're gonna need to change that dryer. And I mean, I'd love to put a suction dryer on this too, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I have one of those. We'll have to see. I kind of suspect there might be something else going on, because this dining room's kind of warm right now. It's hot, not hot, but it's warm. And I've yet to hear this unit turn on once. So I kind of want to go over here This one's kind of tricky though, because ever since I took over, oh, now it's running. Oh, go figure. Okay, no, there's hot air. Okay, cool. Right on. I was worried. I didn't hear it turn on, but yes, now it did turn on. So, I'm gonna leave that one alone then. But yeah, this is a 6-ton package unit. We're gonna need a dryer. Now here's the crappy thing. I guess the dryer's doing its job, you would hope. It just sucks to pull that whole thing out. But yeah, it is what it is. We got a plugged up dryer, so let me go see what I got in the truck. All right, let's see what I got in the van here. Ooh, look at that. I got a 16.4 HH. That's too big, but I'd rather oversize it. I don't know though. I don't know that I need the HH. You know what, we might as well just go with the 16.3. It'll be oversized because what's in there's an 8 cubic inch. 16.3, that's a 3/8 dryer. That should be good. Something's obviously causing contamination. I was smelling the refrigerant a little bit more, and I don't know, it's kind of torn. I don't have an oil test kit, but I don't think it's burnt. I think, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and do this, pull a good evacuation and change the refrigerant. It's kind of a chore because this is just to recover and make the repair. I've still got to get my evacuation stuff too. And, you know, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but you just got to lug it all up and down. This one has a little scuttle access. It's kind of weird. So it's a little time consuming, but it is what it is, right? My access is down there, but they got a lot of crap in the way. So it goes up to there. So we're going to kind of reorganize up here for them. Clean some stuff up, that way I can get in and out better. So I've got one of these hooks on my rope, and the cool thing is if you do it right, you can hook onto everything and pull it up. So I'm hooked on right now. I gotta put the camera down to pull it up, but if you get good at it, like I pulled all this stuff up through the other access. We got 2 accesses we got to go through in a little walkway, so but we'll get it all up here. All right, it's a hot day. You know, I really don't want to be here at 1:30 in the afternoon starting a recovery and a repair and a dryer change, but it's life. If I don't do it today, I'm gonna have to do it tomorrow, so might as well just get it done today, you know. Now I'm, you know, kind of exaggerating there. It's Friday, I'm not on call, but still we got to get the work done. Okay, try to make it go as fast as possible. I've got Schrader core removal tools on here, pulled the Schraders out. Now, I have another set of 3/8 hoses, but I don't have them in my van right now. It'd be best if I had 3/8 hoses right here, but I at least have 3/8 hoses on the outlet and then to the tank to kind of reduce the amount of restriction to see if we can drop the head pressure just a little bit. It's probably about 90 degrees outside, so I am gonna have to hose this tank off. I'll do that and get it cooled, all that good stuff. Yeah, we're pretty much ready. So I always crack right here, right, and it's pushing through to here, and then we're just gonna purge. Okay, so now we know we're purged, but I'm not gonna reuse this refrigerant anyways. That's a vacuum down cylinder, and we're gonna watch it with the scale to make sure that we don't overfill it. So I've got the cool presser tool running on this guy. It's just a nice flow of water, try to cool it off. My outlet pressure is about 370 PSI right now. Pressure coming out of the system is about 229. So our biggest point of restriction, well, the biggest thing that's going to cause this guy to shut off and go off on high pressure is the outlet hoses, okay? That outlet hose especially going to the tank. That's the biggest point of restriction. And then as far as slowing down the evacuation, is going to be the 1/4 inch hoses that we're using, and then the Schraders. But we removed the Schraders, so we've done everything. In a perfect world, I would have 3/8 hoses right here too. But yeah, we're looking good. 394 degrees or PSI. That is not bad for 410A. It's 105 out here right now, so that's not bad at all. That's pretty good. Since I am going bigger with the dryer, it's already super tight in here, like restrictive, and it's a pain to kind of get to. I'm actually going to relocate the dryer over here. This is the liquid line exiting the condenser right here. So I'm going to put the dryer right here. There's plenty of room. I looked at it. It should fit in there just fine. The door should still shut. And then I'll just put a piece of pipe right here, straight pipe it. That way it's just easier. All right, we're all recovered. Man, it is warming up. Now granted, that is in the sun, is 106, but whew, there is a nice breeze though. Okay, nitrogen flowing through the high side, coming out the low side. I relocated the dryer out here, going that way. Also came over here, I swaged a piece of copper here and here. Gotta sweat that in without melting the entire thing. It'll be interesting, but we'll be good. And yeah, we're gonna knock this out. All right, we're all brazed in. I've got to do a pressure test on it, and then I got to take a bunch of stuff down and go get my evacuation rig and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this tightness test. Let's see. There we go. So we're gonna get it pressurized up, and then we'll start the timer and then go take all the stuff down and everything. All right, we gained 0.3 psi. It's like toggling between 0.3 and 0.2 of gain. So we're good to go. It's been 23 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and end it. And then we're gonna go ahead and start hooking up the vacuum rig and everything and getting it all set up. I went ahead and hooked up 3 hoses because we have a liquid line port up there. Got everything going on. So I'm gonna open up the gas ballast. Turn the pump on. It's got the slow ramp up. And we're gonna let it run. And then once we see below about 1500 to 1000 microns, we'll close the gas ballast. But it shouldn't take long. But I wanna pull good on this oil because I don't know what's causing that dryer to plug up. I don't know if there's moisture contamination, what, but that's why we're also gonna change the refrigerant too. All right, we're moving along, we're doing pretty good. Now, I want to point something out, okay? So here's what we got going on. On my initial pull down, I was using 3 hoses, okay? So I've got 1 hose here going to a T. That's hooking to the 1/2-inch connection. And then it's going to the discharge line and into the liquid line up there, okay? And then I had another hose going to the suction line, all right? Now, as I got my initial pull down, I went ahead and shut down the suction line. It's shut down now, okay? So we're only pulling through the liquid line, and we're getting a true reading on our micron gauge because we're pulling all the way through the system up to the micron gauge. You need to see how it's kind of dancing around 896, 895. But I want to point this out. This is so important to understand this. This is the furthest away from the vacuum pump, okay? Notice over here, this is where it's actually pulling on the discharge line, and it says 588. That is not an accurate number because that is getting influenced basically by the pump. See, the pull from the pump is pulling on that before it's completely going through the system. So you need to understand that. I know we can't always pull a perfect evacuation, okay? We can't always use all these fancy hoses. You know, not everybody has these fancy hoses, all right? If you're gonna pull an evacuation through a manifold, if you're gonna use the built-in micron gauge, it's not the best thing to do, okay? But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? You need to understand the evacuation. Just because it says 580 on the micron gauge, right where it's pulling, doesn't mean it's a true evacuation. Now, if we shut that ball valve off and we watch the decay, you're gonna notice that it would rise significantly because it's being influenced by the vacuum pump. Again, 894, 585, okay? This one is shut down completely, so this is going through the evaporator, the expansion valve, and coming all the way back to here and getting a true reading on here. All right, so it's so important that we understand that, because I feel like, judging by people's social media posts and all that stuff, people don't understand about pulling an evacuation. And just because it says it on there doesn't mean anything, because when I shut that off, like right now, watch. Boom. See how it's rising? Okay, first off, something you need to understand too is when you're dealing with these things are never 100% leak free, and you actually want to do them slowly when you close them, because there's a little air pocket in there, and when you shut it, you'll notice. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, when you're putting nitrogen in a system, right, and you're using a core removal tool and you shut it off, when you take it off the system and you open the core removal tool with nothing on it, it'll go tss, because that little pocket of air is stuck around the little ball thing in there. So it's really important to understand that when you're doing an evacuation, okay? And you always want to try to do a decay test. You know what? Not everybody's perfect. Not everybody's going to pull the absolute perfect vacuum. Just do your best and understand what's going on in the system is the most important thing. Do your best and understand if you don't pull a perfect vacuum, there's going to be repercussions, okay? Plugged up filter dryers or copper plating in the compressor, different things like that, okay? Now, the field piece pump has got a little reservoir right here where you can see the oil, and I notice my oil is getting really cloudy, okay? And the cool thing is you can do an on-the-fly oil change. So, you don't break the vacuum at all. What we're gonna do is we're gonna open this guy right here, okay? We're gonna drain this guy right here. The oil's draining into here, and when it's done draining, hold on, I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and then I'm gonna pour oil right in the top. Get it to the max fill. There we go, okay? So on the fly oil change works really well, and we're gonna let it run now. We have been in decay for, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes. It is slowly rising. We're at 1,030, 1,068 on that one. It's slowly rising, but it's not gonna get much better than this. So this is how it's gonna be. Again, we're not gonna obtain perfection with old oil in that compressor. You're just going to be pulling that out for days. So I'd say the evacuation altogether with the 3 hoses took about an hour and a half, 2 hours letting it run. The initial pull down came down to about 300 microns, and it's just been slowly rising. So there's just moisture in the oil. Again, it's not going to be perfect unless we change the oil, and that's not going to happen today. So we're going to get ready to charge this guy right now. I'm just hooking up my probes, and then we're gonna go ahead and charge with the probes on this bad boy. So it's like this guy stalled out at about 1110 microns. So again, I'm satisfied with that. So we're just doing the process of charging right now. All right, we're charging through. We're looking for 16 pounds, 5 ounces. So we're just gonna let it keep running. And once I get pressure in the suction side, it's coming around. So once it comes around, we'll take the micron gauge off. It took 5 pounds, 12 ounces, then I hooked it over to the suction side, and now I'm just metering it in. We're looking for a total of 16 pounds, 5 ounces total charge for this guy. So we're working on it. The unit actually satisfied. I had to put it into test mode up there. But anyways, we're right at 16.5. I don't know why I'm getting some kind of interference again, but we're right at 16.5. We're gonna let it stabilize out. That subcooling's out of whack because we're doing discharge pressure. We switch it up to the liquid line and you'll see the pressure drop across the condenser. So we'll look at it right now. 351.4 and 334. So you can see there's a significant pressure drop, and the subcooling will calm down once we let it stabilize out now. It is looking great. The unit's running pretty darn good as far as my pressures go. Approach temperature is a little bit low, but subcooling's looking decent. Yeah, I'm a happy camper. So this guy's good. There's no more restriction across the filter dryer. The expansion valve looks good. It's feeding properly. Let's open it up and have a look. Nice, good expansion valve, feeding nice and good. So this is the core, but look at it, is solid plugged with gunk. The mesh is done. This dryer is crazy dirty. Now here's the deal. We did a repair. We changed a dryer and an expansion valve. One of my other techs did it about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I think. I think it was one of my other techs. I don't think it was me. And I think that this is the oil in the system is completely just destroyed. I believe if you listen to the video too, the compressor didn't sound too healthy when it was running. I think that compressor's on its way out. So we bought them a little bit of time, maybe a month or two, but I'm going to go ahead and try to talk the customer into a compressor replacement before this thing burns out. I think that what happened was the unit, if I remember right, ran for a while, or it had a plugged up, messed up expansion valve for a while. And I think that the damage was already done with it running, you know, with a restricted expansion valve for so long. And I think that it damaged the compressor then, and it's just been kind of running on borrowed time. Now, I don't know how long it's been running with this plugged up filter dryer like this now, because we're, you know, the restaurants were shut down for almost, you know, or not shut down, but they were barely operating without guests in their dining room for so long. So they didn't even know that they had ACs down. And now that they're starting to have us get in there and start cleaning them and getting them operational and stuff, yeah, just this dryer's completely breaking down. So yeah, I think that this compressor's on borrowed time. I believe that that's the compressor oil, just, you know, just crap is traveling with the oil, and it's completely plugging up the dryer. So we're going to go ahead and talk to the customer again. I'm going to try to get him to go ahead and let me replace that compressor, because this is going to lead to a burnout. I told you that the oil smelled a little funny, but it didn't smell burnt, you know. I just believe it's really cooked oil, just trashed. So yeah, compressor replacement time for sure.
Yeah, that one is dirty for sure. So like I said, we had a TXV and dryer replacement. It was a bad TXV, not a plugged up dryer, about a year and a half ago. And I believe it ran for, if I remember right, I think it ran for a while like that before the customer approved it, like it was, you know, restricted. So I think that the damage was already started then. We went ahead and changed the TXV in the dryer, and it was working fine until now. Again, I don't know how long it's been plugged up the way that it was today, because the restaurants are really just starting to use these air conditioners. So they've been down for who knows how long, you know. Basically, I'm letting the customer know I got the unit operational. It's fixed, right? It's running, but I wouldn't give it a month before that compressor burns out, because basically the oil in that system is just completely deteriorated. There's probably sludge basically forming in the bottom of the compressor. I didn't do an acid test on it. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it's slightly acidic, but it didn't smell like it was burnt, you know, or it didn't smell acidic. It's kind of hard to tell. But I realized that there's no way to know for sure if it's acidic unless you do a chemical test, right? But, you know, if this customer doesn't approve a compressor replacement now, I can guarantee you they're going to have a burnout in a month or two, because it's just going to, you know, continue. That oil's just going to keep floating through the system. And if the oil's breaking down and is that dirty, then it's not lubricating properly. We could have metal fatigue. You know, I mean, there's just going to be so many problems with it. So it'd be best if they let me do it now, but hey, you know, that's their decision to make. But anyways, so let's start back at the beginning. We went through the unit. Initially, the customer called and said, hey, the thermostat's not working. So here's my theory. I believe that the unit, the thermostat, I should say, has been problematic for a while. I believe the thermostat was working, but you just couldn't control it or change it. I believe it was just kind of running on its own program, but just the touchscreen wasn't working right. That's just a theory, okay? because when the AC went down or the customer noticed that it was down, the first thing they do is go to the thermostat and it wouldn't work. So I came out, looked at the thermostat because that's what they asked me to, diagnosed a bad thermostat because you couldn't adjust it. It wasn't locked, it was just, locked up basically. And I replaced it, but then I went up onto the roof. Again, you can't just change the thermostat and walk away. You really need to look into everything, big picture kind of stuff, right? So then went onto the roof, found that the unit was acting kind of funny, and found that, we had a plugged up liquid line filter dryer. And there we go with the, the video. The evacuation is something I want to touch on too. I feel like not enough people understand proper evacuation. And I realize there's, you're not always going to have a perfect evacuation. It's just not going to happen. But I feel like there's too many people out there that think when the vacuum pump is running, if the micron gauge says 500 before you blank it off, that you're done. And that's not the case. Okay. Especially when you have the micron gauge in your manifold or placed in the wrong place, right? In series with the pump or something like that, you're going to get an incorrect reading. So it's so important that you understand an evacuation. And if you don't do a perfect evacuation, you understand the repercussions of what's going to happen. Now, I don't think that this is because of a bad evacuation, this filter dryer. I believe this is a bigger issue. Okay, this is a pretty big one where I think the oil is just completely destroyed. Now, I'm confident that my techs pulled a vacuum, but if this would happen if someone didn't pull a vacuum at all, if they were just purging the system, that kind of stuff, yeah, I could see this happening. But then you would also have non-condensables in the system, and you would see that in your refrigerant pressures. You'd often go off on high head pressure, different things like that, okay? So this one was a fun one. I like tearing this stuff apart when I'm done, when I can. It doesn't always happen, but I like cutting open the dryer and really getting to the root cause, because once I open that dryer, then I know, the compressor didn't sound good. Now I see the dryer, that compressor's done. It needs to be changed for sure. Okay. So, hey, I really, really appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video. If you haven't already, guys, please help me by supporting the channel. Go to my website, HVACRvideos.com, and check out the shirts. I'm wearing my flag shirt right now. This one's my favorite one because it has a flag on the shoulder, and then it says HVACR videos on the back. Super cool design. The hat's like the #1 seller, but we got lots of hats on there, beanies, sweatshirts, that kind of stuff. So please check it out if you haven't already. Remember that I go live Monday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. And then I go live on the HVAC Overtime YouTube channel on Friday evenings. So come check those out too. There'll be links in the show notes of this video. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment on this video or send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Okay? Really appreciate you. And we will catch you on the next one.